Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about some of the things that my husband and I do to live more sustainably. We really care about the planet and our impact on the environment, so we make strides every single day to live as sustainable as possible. So I'm going to take you through some of the things we do to make a better impact on the planet. So the first thing that I want to show you is a little bit of my garden. Kobe and I hand built one of these boxes. We do rent, so keeping that in mind when we started to build this was obviously a priority. But my dream is to one day have a big piece of land to have just the absolute most insane, beautiful garden. Let's go ahead and show you a bit of what's in the garden. So we have squash growing, which is really cool because when I planted this, I actually planted all of the seeds this time with my mom, and we planted this squash with the idea of having it just overflow and feel really abundant and add beauty to the garden. It is a vining plant, so we can even set it up to vine up the trellis if we want to, though I do have beans growing in here. I have carrots, I have bell peppers, I have tomatoes. Over here in this bed, I need to do some pruning. This one is a very leafy tomato. I'm doing some pruning today, but I really wanted to give it a chance to just take off. I don't love taking out my suckers. I mostly keep those and then just take off the leafy vines. We have parsley growing in. We have celery, which I've not grown before, so I'm giving it a go and just going to see how it turns out. And in each of my beds I have marigolds growing, which are these leafy plants that you'll see. And the reason for that is because they help to drive out pests, and the flowers, we can actually eat them in salads. So there's a lot of purpose out of growing marigolds. We do have quite a bit of opportunity to grow a decent abundance of things in our garden beds. I have dill growing right here, I have cilantro. I do get all of my seeds from True Leaf Market. This is my mostly lettuce bed. I eat a lot of salads. I love having salads, which is like the point of my carrots, and the tomatoes and bell peppers I grow largely because I make my own pasta sauces, pizza sauces. This bed is mostly for lettuce. I just harvested some, and then we have some more little lettuce sprouts growing, some marigolds, and some thyme. We had some leftover wood when we were building the beds, so I actually had Kobian add on a small bed up in the front to grow miscellaneous herbs in. Right now we have green onion, which you can see a lot of these little guys are starting to come into. And of course, we can't forget about the lilikoi. One of the biggest things that I've found that really helps to live more sustainably is composting. And composting is a beautiful opportunity to lower your waste. A lot of my scraps from the garden, like the leaves that I take off and prune, or food that's going to go bad, we throw it in our Lomi composter, and that's how we compost and throw it right back into the garden. I really care about where my food comes from, which is also largely what inspired the garden. But one of the things I recently added was grounding up my own spices. So when I harvest my thyme or rosemary, I will throw one in here and ground up. We have reusable bags. We have a lot of different sizes. Most of ours are being used right now. And of course, in some situations, we do still rely on using Ziplocs. We need to freeze fish just because that can be really hard to get out of the reusable bags. We have these reusable and compostable sponges as opposed to the just store-bought sponges that are not compostable and are filled with plastic. There are a lot of bamboo options you can use. I'm not a huge advocate for buying off of Amazon. We do have some reusable stores here and some zero waste stores on island, which is amazing, but if you live somewhere where you need to order through Amazon, they do have helps on Amazon if you need to get them there. And switching to using glass reusable dishes instead of plastic Tupperware. And obviously in some cases you need it, like when we're out on our boat. We do not bring glass on our boat, so we do have some plastic ones. We use them for as long as we can, and in most cases try to use glassware as much as possible. Something that I want to make sure to share is that nobody expects perfection, and if they do, it's not realistic. One of the important things to note is that sustainability is more about a mindset and a lifestyle, and I think what's really hard is when people are talking about living sustainably, a lot of people who are watching tend to expect perfection, like, oh wow, you use like a plastic cup this one day or a plastic water bottle this one day, you don't live sustainably. The reality is that more people trying is better than doing nothing at all, and effort is what goes the long way. It is more about making small strides in your everyday life to live more sustainably, like things like using as low waste as possible, minimizing your trash as much as possible, and just being mindful about the things that you consume and not being a mindless consumer. Lastly, I am sure there are things that I'm going to change every single day The garden's going to constantly be changing. I'll be adding to that. We're obviously going to be making changes as time goes on and as we find and discover new ways to live more sustainably and save the money to invest in certain areas. So obviously I'll be making more of these videos, and just to kind of show you where we're at with our sustainability journey, and I'll see you in my next video.